It wouldn't be a Thrash Pondo live chat without some kind of technical difficulty. I don't think this was on me, though. I think we're getting, there's some weird electrical storm in the Northeast. I think that may be wreaking havoc with my connection. Guys, I'm going to try this one more time. And if it goes awry again, we're just going to have to call it a night. We'll try this again because I have a surprise for you. And the surprise is this: going to have a special surprise edition live chat this Tuesday. And I have to, I can't keep this in the can anymore. I got to share it with you. Friend of channel Keithy came up with a brilliant concept. As you guys know, one of my favorite all time music trivia bits is the infamous story of Chicago and their meaning behind 25 or 6 to 4. This Tuesday is 250624. So I'm going to do a special live chat. There'll be a brief post, which will be the anecdote behind it, which I expect you folks to all share. And I'll do a little live chat with some music trivia. It's going to be a lot of fun. But there's going to be 2 this week. Tugs, pardon me, says hello. Says, is there anybody in there? I was going to do War of the Worlds. Is there anybody out there? Anyone at all? Lens Javen is back. Zublik says, here we go again. Sister Sarah says, we're back. 257 says, hi, guys. I was watching Mask cartoon series on YouTube. I thought you were watching Plan 9, or is that Mike? But either way, I'm glad you could join us. Gary Carpenter says, what happened, T? There's some kind of electrical storm in this area, and it's not really like going over Cape Cod, but I guess it's close enough to wreak havoc with my internet. So we're going to try this one more time. My flock has given us a lot of emojis. Hopefully that does the trick. Danny says, well, that was weird. It certainly was weird. And welcome back. Yeah, weird, I get it. And 257 says it stings. It certainly does. Diamond D is here and says, hey, Bob. Hey, everyone. And hey to you, too, as well. Jim's camera. Don is here, says, greetings, everyone. And greetings to you, too. And Tug says, I hope so, Sarah. I am feeling a little better, but these antibiotics, they've got me on, make me feel so freaking tired. I know, right? It's terrible, but I'm glad you're feeling better. 257 says, tornado. There are tornado warnings. Not for Cape and the Islands, not for my area, not even for Plymouth County. Central West, Wista, or as my wife says, Worcester. They could get tornadoes, and I'm praying that they don't. Oh, speaking of praying, by the way, my aunt Gail Ann, who was actually named after a hurricane. I'll spare the details, but unfortunately, she's in the hospital with septicemia. She's on the mend, but please pray for her. She's getting really knocked down by these antibiotics that they got her on. So the book says, truth is, T. Pons is still using 486 premium. I'm actually using Apple II. Emily Miller says, hey, all. Miss Miller, so awesome to see you, my dear. Oh, by the way, 13 people have come back. Only 4 likes. We can do better than that. Persons. And I'm just going to skim down. Texas, hi again, everybody. Yeah, people who are reconnecting from the 2 minutes that we were actually out. I think everyone is back so far that I recall. Daryl hasn't come back. And Keithy. Oh, but there's Danny's given us another link for Corey. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. And if you haven't joined Corey, please do. Same goes for Tug. Same goes for Danny and all of his channels. And same goes for Sister Sarah. I believe I saw... Yeah, there he is. Christopher Wilkinson is here. He says, good evening, Tracy. Good evening, Tracy. Oh, we lost one. We're down to 12, but we're up to 8 likes. And I'm going to try to do the trivia, if not before 8, right as closely as possible, because again, I worked very hard on this. It's Donald Sutherland trivia, and I want to read the record before everything crashes again. Oh, but while we're at it, some more favorite Donald Sutherland films. I haven't seen any of my faves, which means they're not in the record, and none of them are bad films. But let's try this from another angle. Anybody have hidden gem Donald Sutherland films? Films that people, oh yeah, he wasn't that, or oh yeah, that was a good film. I forgot it, but skimming down, Emily says I haven't seen a good meatloaf in a long time. Um, I There was a restaurant around here that had an amazing meatloaf, but I believe it's closed. I can't think of it. Oh, Indy Spouts is here. Oh, Indy, I'm so glad you can make it to this one. The good news is that septicemia doesn't get really bad until it turns over into octosemia. That's a joke. I said it wrong, isn't it? All right, I'll tell you the story. The poor lady, she's gonna be so embarrassed. She had a bladder infection, but at her age, bladder infections can be very serious. She's like well into her 80s, and it went septic. So again, if anyone would be so kind as to send positive vibes. Um, um, I mentioned previously, Ordinary People. Oh yes, I loved Ordinary People. I loved it. That's an amazing film. Very sad, but it's an amazing film. Keithy says, and the answer is his ass in Animal House. You don't know how right you are. Dominic Jesus, meatloaf trivia next week. You know what? I will do meatloaf trivia. I will. I love meatloaf. He has a lot of trivia. Zuplik says Steelyard Blues. He made it with his lady love Jane Fonda. I'm not going to say anything mean about Jane Fonda on this post because I'm trying to be nice to Donald Sutherland. Jenny says I'm thinking MASH. He was absolutely outstanding in MASH. He certainly was. And Tug says, don't look now. Messed me up. I mentioned Eagle has landed and Puppet Masters before. Oh, excellent. The later as a bad movie where he was great. I'll buy that. And of course, it's funny that he did, well, he did a movie similar to The Puppet Masters, which I may or may not discuss later on in this show. And I loved him in The Eagle Has Landed. I loved him in The Eagle Has Landed. I thought he stole the movie. I really did. Great, great flick. Great flick. Derek Everett says, it's been hot as blazes here in North Carolina. I've been out twice and I went to back in. Dad lives in Raleigh, says it was like 93. Keithy says, oh, I mentioned previously, hello, Harold. Learned my lesson, as have we all. W says, you took the words right out of my mouth. Oh, meatloaf trivia. I love it. I love it. Daryl's back. Says crazy. I mean, like so many positive waves. Maybe we can't lose. You're on. Baby. Of course, you're doing Kelly's Heroes. Oh, oh, I don't like officers. Oh, Oddball's a nut. Great movie too, and I love him as a sort of a left bank, uh, uh, beatnik warrior poet. Zublix's Casanova, Lance's Space Cowboys. Danny Staten said something, but he jumped off the page. We will never turn the page. Oh wow, you guys have. Oh no. 217 says Zuber Barbarella. And he says, my favorite role of his is Homer Simpson. I don't want to give the game away, but I think I know what you're talking about, Keith. He says, I mentioned previously, hello, Harold. I learned my, oh yeah, so I'm a little further back than I realized. Oh, here it is. Dennis Hinton says, I was on the Peter Fonda workout for a year. That's where you get drunk every day and borrow money from your sister, LOL. Ouch! Although I could do that. I suppose I could call up Jenny. Hey, Jenny, float your older brother a few bucks. Oh, my father won't give it to me. I'm kidding. 257 says Croft Super Show is great. Just been watching it on Tubi. I love the Croft Super Show. I really did. By the way, the hot young lady in Magic Mongo who usually goes around in the orange bikini, she's married to Bryan Cranston. Indy says, I feel like you may be hinting at a role he may have had in an inferior remake. Oh, battle lines being drawn, Indy. Ooh. Gary says, I've been binge watching Hollywood specials. I can see that. That sounds like fun. The outdated ones are the best. You're from the 70s. Emily says, we had a spot of rain here, then the humidity was just soupy. I know. That's the problem with here on Cape Cod. Unless it rains for like 3 days, all it does is increase the humidity count. Doesn't cool things off uh, at all. Tug says them's fighting words, indeed. Yeah, Tug is in like Flynn on that one. And Keithy says to Kenneth and everybody I missed, hello. And I'm just going to skim down. Tracy says, you missed my statement, LOL. Please repost. Because if I try to go back, I'll never be done. So Tracy, if I ask you nicely, please repost said statement. Emily says, I need a sister to borrow money from. And 2007 says, I already knew that, Pawns. The huge Croft fan, yes, I certainly am. Zuplik says, when are you going to do a Jane Fonda trivia? When you're nailing my coffin lid down, whether I'm dead or not. And Gary Carpenter says, oh, happy birthday, Hollywood 100th birthday night of 100 stars. 1, 2, 3 plus AFI 100 stars, 100 movie songs from the movie. Sounds like a blast. Len says Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It was bound to come out sooner or later. Danny says 96 degrees here today with humidity felt like 107. Are you anywhere near Ocean Island, by the way? I'm sure I've asked you that before, but I forget. That's only. Wait, no, Ocean Island is in North Carolina. Disregard. I keep forgetting that. And Emily says that has to be my favorite Lance. Mine too. And Tracy says, Tracy says, I was talking about Donald Sutherland's Took Us in Animal House. Oh, I thought I read that. Maybe it was somebody else who read. Oh, no, I think Keith said it first. But yes, you don't know how topical you are. Pod Bless is here. He says, hi, y'all. Rest in peace, Mr. Sutherland. Chance, so nice of you to make it, and absolutely, definitely. He says, Hanoi Jane. And Keithy says, Tug, it was good to see you. Want a free membership. One, not want, blame, Surrey. And Len says, yes, Emily loved the end of that movie where he put the other, I can't do it. My throat will crack, but yes. And 257 says, agreed, Pod Blast. He was good in Lady Ice 2. Dominique says, Jane Fonda trivia. I'll be sure to miss that one. Consider it missed. Gary Carpenter's Denny's giving us another link to someplace he was. Excellent. Gary Carpenter goes on to say, yeah, Peter died a few years ago, and Henry died back in the 80s. I know, yeah, he died forever ago. And Tug says to Keith E, it was a nice surprise. And Denny says, I live in upstate 500 miles from the ocean. Ooh, the humidity must be, ooh. It says Henry Fonda had only 2 children. To the best of my knowledge, I believe he has. Oh, music, fun, etc., is here. Says, good morning, evening, everyone. Music and fun, etc. Welcome to the party. It is so great to see you. Seen you in many other chats. Glad you could make it to this one. And he says, if you have a Clute question tonight, technically you are giving Zuper Jane Fonda trivia. I deliberately avoided that one. Gary Carpenter says, just finished watching Night of 100 Stars with Donald Sutherland appears in the end of the show. And he says, Danny, we were about 5 degrees cooler than you out here. Index heat wave is about 97. Tug says, thanks, Danny. My Superman 2 review needs more views. I'm sorry to get a chance to kind of overschedule today. I didn't get a chance to go to Chance's unboxing. That was fun. And chances he will look at it too, as will I. And Dominic D says, anybody remember the Smith family TV series? Henry Fonda played a cop and Ron Howard played his son. I think that came out when I was a very young kid. I think I remember it, but didn't actually watch it. And Tug saying happy early birthday to Tracy. And Scott said, a lot of people saying hi, early birthday to Tracy. And Scott says, another great movie Donald Sutherland was in that I don't feel gets enough kudos is Backdraft. You know, you're right. I forget that he was in that, to be honest with you. I mean, I think I go, oh yeah, but it's like I don't think of it as a Donald Sutherland picture. And Denny says, drinking game begins now. Take a shot every time Pawn says invasion of the body snatchers. LOL. And look who's here. Lisa Fields is here. Says hi, Thrash, everybody. Oh, Lisa Fields, I'm so glad you are here. And Emily says, Harold, I haven't seen that movie but once. I need to watch it again. And Chen says, Invasion of the Body Snatchers was my favorite. Everybody drink. And Lynn says, yeah, to Daryl, tell them thank you. And Tuck says, Backdraft is so good. It was huge in the day, but it never gets mentioned anymore. I know. I don't know why. And etc. says he was in Backdraft 2 also. I don't think I ever saw Backdraft 2. And Keith says Henry Fonda impression everybody could do. Gaff film. And Tracy says, I beat you, Robert, to 57. Not by much. Not by much. I turned 57 this August. But I will defer to you, my lady. And Scott says to Music Fun, etc. I have never seen Backdraft 2 as well. And he says to Tug, speaking of Don't Look Now, when I was about 7, I put on an old man mask and a red coat to be the dwarf from that. I may have been an unusual child. I find that hard to fathom. And anywho, and Lisa Field says to hi Tracy Zublex and Dominic Lanson. Tug. And Dominic D says Gav used to make the old Viewmaster reels. I remember those Viewmaster reels. My father gave me one of those when I was a kid. They were a lot of fun. But you know what? I'm going to start the trivia now because I definitely want to do it. And like I said, there's electrical drums in the area. I might go dead. So feel free to keep chatting, but we're going to start focusing on the trivia game as of now. And as always, I'm going to read it in no particular order. Number 10. Mr. Sutherland had a tragic death scene in this classic war flick. Was it A, MASH, B, The Dirty Dozen, C, Kelly's Heroes, or D, The Eagle Has Landed? And I shall repeat. Oh, and he says, I feel that not mentioning it was for Halloween may have ratcheted up the weirdness to an uncomfortable level, perhaps. And Shin says, where may I buy one of your Thrash t-shirts to wear on my show? Spring. They should be on spring. There was some trouble with it before. If it's not there now, let me know and I'll try to work on it again. But spring. And I shall repeat. Mr. Sutherland had a tragic death scene in this classic war flick. Was it A, MASH, B, Dirty Dozen, C, Kelly's Heroes, or D, The Eagle Has Landed? Emily says that just makes it boring now, Indy. Are you saying Indy should wait until everyone else answers? Oh my gosh, look who's here. Jake Hudson is here. Jake, my man, so good to see you. Again, I've seen you on some other live chats. Chrissy from Brain Bender's Banter. And the other one. I'm so embarrassed. I can't think of the lady's name, but she does like the snack food tastings and like the aerobics workouts and stuff. Please let me please remind me of her name. I'm Southern Fitness or something. I believe her name is. Please remind me. But anyway, Jake, welcome to the show. So glad you could make it. In fact, Jenny, do me a favor. If you could drop a link, if you guys haven't gone to any of Jake's live chats or any of his posts, check him out. He's put out some pretty interesting stuff. Dixie. Thank you. Yes, Dixie Fitness. Dixie Fitness. I was close. Southern Fitness, Dixie Fitness. But thank you, Jake. You're the man. And Emily says, "OMG, it's Jake Hudson. Not that I know who that is, but he's here. He certainly is." Dominic says, "Sarah Lee." Nobody doesn't like Sarah Lee. And Keith says, "Dixie Cuddles is the name you're looking for." Is it Dixie Cuddles Fitness? I could have sworn there was fitness in there somewhere. Even though she does a lot of tasting of really cool snack foods. So that has me more intrigued. But anyway, thank you all. And I appreciate that. And has anyone answered the question? Music and Funds is yes, it is. The correct answer is a D, the Dirty Dozen. He lives in all the other war films, believe it or not. A lot of people think. My wife says, no. He dies at the end of the Eagles Limited. I'm like, well, spoiler alert. No, he doesn't. Number 9. He gave a staggering performance as the dystopian despot in this sci-fi franchise. Was it A, The Hunger Games, B, The Handmaid's Tale, C, The Mist, or D, Ender's Game? Tug says, wait, what? Oh, the answer is D. But I shall repeat number 9. Number 9. Number 9. Number 9. I told you to repeat number 9. Mr. Sutherland gave us a staggering performance as the dystopian despot in this epic sci-fi franchise. A, The Hunger Games, B, The Handmaid's Tale, C, The Mist, or D, Ender's Game. Gary says, I don't watch them either, but I do like Patton. But he wasn't in that. And WD says, sorry, what was the letter answer to the first question? Oh, D. Wasn't it D? Oh, now I'm confused. No, B. Dirty Dozen was B. So if you said B, you got it correct. And the correct letter for number 9 is A, The Hunger Games. He plays Snow. Not to be confused with Snow from Lame of Groans. Ooh. Number 8. And I think this is what you were driving at, Indy, before, but yeah, you tell me. Anyway, number 8. He did voice acting work for which iconic animated series? Fox animated series. Was it A, American Dad, B, The Simpsons, C, Family Guy, or D, Archer? I shall repeat. Mr. Sutherland did voice acting work for which iconic Fox animated series? Was it A, American Dad, B, The Simpsons, C, Family Guy, or D, Archer? Indy says, check the answer options for the question, Bob. Which one was Dirty Dozen? Dirty Dozen was B. B. To be or not to be. And it seems like everyone got this one. Yeah, and it's weird because for some reason I thought he did a lot. I think it looked like he did like one in 1996, and people still remember it. But yes, the correct answer is B, The Simpsons. Number 7. Mr. Sutherland appeared in one of the vignettes of this horror anthology flick. Was it A, Trilogy of Terror, B, Tales from the Crypt, C, Dr. Shrek's House of Horrors, or D, Monster Club? I shall repeat. Mr. Sutherland appeared in one of the vignettes of this horror anthology flick. Was it A, Trilogy of Terror, B. Tales from the Crypt. C. Dr. Shrek's House of Horrors. Or D. Monster Club. Oh, Tom McCluskey's here. Tom, how you doing? Welcome to the show. You've cut us almost midway through tonight's Donald Sutherland trivia game. All questions are in regards to his career, but welcome. And he says he did voice work for The Simpsons, but that wasn't my reference. He played a different character, also named Homer Simpson. Oh. Oh, he played a. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm just going to skim down here. Gary Kerman says, it feels like I am 1,000 miles from the ocean. I could walk there and it still feels like. Oh my gosh, Teb is here. And he says C, which is the correct answer. Teb, welcome to the party. And yes, the correct answer is C. And Tug says, I've never heard of it, but I'm pretty sure he's not in the others, so C. You haven't heard of Dr. Shrek's House of Horrors? With Peter Cushing as the impresario? Yes, it's Dr. Shrek's House of Horrors. One of those Amicus horror anthologies. And Emily says, never heard of the House of Horrors thing, so that must be the right answer. Oh, Indy brings up an excellent point. It had two different names. In the United States, it was released as Dr. Terror's House of Horrors because they were afraid Americans wouldn't know what Shrek meant. But in England, it was Dr. Shrek's House of Horrors. So sorry if that threw anybody off. And Tug says, I have blind spots. What can I say? I'm just busting your chops. I'm just to reiterate, busting your chops. But anyway, the correct answer is C, Dr. Shrek's House of Horrors. And number 6, and then we'll get scores. Number 6, in Dr. Shrek's House of Horrors, or Dr. Terror's House of Horrors, if you prefer, he runs afoul of this type of monster. A zombie, B, a werewolf, C, a vampire, or D, a killer bird. I shall repeat. In Dr. Terror's House of Horrors, he runs afoul of this type of monster. A zombie, B, a werewolf, C, a vampire, or D, a killer bird. Oh, Angela McCurdy's here. Says, hello. First time in this chat. Angela, so glad you could make it. We're about halfway through tonight's trivia game. Feel free to play the first half and replay if you'd like, but you're welcome to join the second half. Tonight, as I'm sure you know, it's a commemorative live chat on the works of Donald Sutherland, and tonight's trivia question will be on Donald Sutherland trivia. Keithy says, you can only run afoul of a bird. Aha! You fell right into my trap. That was a red herring. Or a red wing herring, I guess you'd say. No, the correct answer was, in fact, a vampire. It's actually a really, really good vignette. But yes, the correct answer is C, a vampire. Now let's get some scores. And Shannon says Batman by Tim Burton, starring Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson, with a song by Prince, hit the scene 35 years ago on June 23rd, 1989. I know, I remembered. Buddy of mine and I went to see it. He had a Yugo. Yes, I'm not making this up. He had a Yugo. He had a Yugo with a busted gas meter reader, so you couldn't tell how full or empty the tank was. Now, a normal person would have just kept the tank full and put gas in it every couple of days just to play it safe. No, not him. He would just be like, well, if I can't tell how much gas is in it, I'm sure it's fine. And we ran out of gas in the middle of blanking nowhere. Indy says to Tug, Freddie Francis directed it. Thrash either oversold it or undersold it. Haven't decided. Probably oversold it. I have a weak spot for those anthologies. Zupalex is 4 of 5. Excellent, Zuper. Excellent. It's not even any sports questions. Lisa's 5 out of 5. Lisa, love you. You're amazing, Lisa. Tug is 5 for 5. Only guessed on the last one. Emily says 2, I think. 2 sounds good. I'll say 2 of 5. John Doe's here says, didn't know how long I'll be here, but the answer is Spock. I grok Spock. John, so glad you could make it. Scott is 3 of 5. Should have been 4. LOL. Chan says, you go. Let's go. No go with the you go. WD is 4 for 5. Terrell says, oh, he missed the first question. We'll get it replayed. But 4 or 5 is totally, totally good. And Emily says 2 or 2 of 5. And Tug says he was friends with Spock during the invasion of San Francisco. Ah, here we go again. Synchronicity said, Big Guys 45 is here. Says hello, everybody. Hello to you too, my son. And Gary Carver's 3 of 5. And music fun, etc., etc., etc. is $sign out of 5. Well, show me the money. And W says Yugoslavia really knows how to make quality automobiles. And he says, so far, so good. And Lynn says, hi at 45. And etc. is 4 out of 5. And Shan says, running on empty is tough, but is a cool song by Jackson Brown. It certainly is. And John Doe says, a big storm is brewing near us, Thresh. I know. Before you got here, bro, I was kind of blinking in and out. So this actually might be a short show. Thank you for stopping by. But yeah, my internet is kind of sketchy tonight. And Big Guy says, just listen to Images of Heaven by Peter Goodwin, 82, 83. Great new wave song that should have been a much bigger hit single. And he's very active on TikTok. And we'll keep in touch. And Danny's giving us another link. Thank you. And Angela says, I honestly only saw Donald Sutherland in 2 films, MASH and Animal House. Well, those are 2 great films. But who knows? There might be more that you did. Oh, like, yeah, he was in that. We've been doing that actually quite a bit. And Brogu's here, says hello, everyone. Hello, Brogu. So good to see you. Angela says, yeah, it's been pouring down. It's been downpouring here. Oh, Angela, what part of the country do you hail from, miss? And Gary says, Angela, he was in the Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Is he? I hadn't heard. And Angela says, it's. And it's to you. Emily says, Angela, you should really watch Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Previously discussed. And Zublik says, the video definition is better, though. It always is. John Doe says, might turn into a hurricane. Ooh, dude, I'm dying. I haven't restocked my hurricane preparedness kit. I told you guys that story, right? I stashed a bunch of 1.5 liter bottles of water in the bridge as sort of like a water preparation kit if we ever lost water during the hurricane, because during Hurricane Bob, the water pressure started to drop around day 4, and we were worried. And unrelated matter, down the road, I started drinking bottles of water, and every now and then she hear, I got you this, and I thought she was just stopping on her way home and picking up a bottle of water at a convenience store or something on her way home, buying a lottery ticket, smokes, that type of thing. And then one day I'm like, where is she getting all these things? It seemed like she always had one. I go, she's drinking my hurricane preparedness kit, so I need to get more water. Oh, Northern Maine. Are you guys under tornado warnings too, miss? I'm not where I am, but inland Massachusetts is under warnings. But I wish you luck either way. Dominic says, was Donald Sutherland ever in 24 with his son Kiefer? Not to my knowledge, not to my knowledge. And Len says, feel sorry for Kiefer Sutherland. R.I.P. Donald. Yeah, I guess he's taking it real, real bad. And Tug says, still moving on my screen. Something's still moving on your screen? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. And WG says, I'm not sure either. I don't watch that show too much. And he says to Dominic D, not that I'm aware of. Okay, there we go. And Tug says, no, he was never in 24. Kiefer's character had a dad, but they cast someone else. It was a crime. You really, really. And Angela says, southern part of Maine is. And, well, good luck. And Keely says, one of the weather channels I work with is chasing tornadoes in Canada. Oh, Canada, my home and native land. And Tracy says, "I'll be careful." Yes, you too, my dear. Thank you, thank you. I know you guys get hit with hurricanes very rapidly, regularly. And Gary says, to Dom, I never saw the show. I don't think so. It was that good. And Scott says, "Oh, while we are on the break, if anyone has heard of Scarecrow Video in Seattle, has the largest collection of videos with 150,000. It's a nonprofit at risk of closure." Oh, wow. Good luck. And John Doe's message retracted. Sean Ennis is here. Says hello. A little late. No worries. You're right on time. You're right on time to start part two of the trivia. And of course, tonight's trivia is going to be on the works of Donald Sutherland. And number 5. He starred in this made for TV movie. Well, I'll come in again. Mr. Sutherland starred in this made for TV insects attack flick. Was it A, Kingdom of Spiders, B, Empire of the Ants, C, Day of the Locusts, or D, Swarm? And if you're paying attention to indie spouts, you probably got this one in the bag, but I shall repeat. Mr. Sutherland starred in this made-for-TV movie, Insects Attack flick. Kingdom of Spiders, Empire of the Ants, Day of the Locusts, or The Swarm. I'm going to repeat those letters again because I forgot to put the letters in. A, Kingdom of Spiders, B, Empire of the Ants, C, Day of the Locusts, or D, Swarm. John Doe says Kiefer is a mix of Kai and Reefer. Actually, John, I'm gonna have to hold off because I don't want to give the game away. But while that is a shtick, there's a specific reason why he was named Kiefer, which I will bring up in a second. Music and fun, etc. says Insects Attack. Yeah, that's sort of like an Animal Attack movie, like Day of the Animals or Jaws, only specifically insects, and there were a bunch of them in the 70s. And Keithy says, Angela, are you going in for hand scan because the problems I'm having next week? And Sean says hello to a bunch of people. He gets a swarm. John Doe is the one who played Jack's father in 24 was RoboCop. Peter Weller. And Denny, Emily Miller says, apparently we didn't have enough raid in the 70s. And Isabel says, where to start? It's not a bug movie, Bob. It's about post-war depression, and it wasn't made for TV. Day of the Locust wasn't made for TV? All right, scratch that. Am I confusing two completely different movies? I am so embarrassed. Everybody give yourself credit for that one. Everyone give yourself credit for that one. I was confusing it. Was this made-for-TV movie I saw when I was a kid about killer locusts, which, anyway, yeah, I'm not even going to try to explain it further. Every now and then I get a wire crossed in my head, people. And I was giving Tug a hard time about Dr. Shrek's House of Horrors. Oh, too funny, too funny. Tug says, and he makes fools of us all. No, I make a fool of myself. And Scott says to Sean Dennis, thank you for coming into our stream last night. The bunnies are horribly harmed. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. And he says, Angela, it's me, July 3rd. I wish you the best. Oh, good luck to both of you. Good luck to both of you are having hand procedures. Oh my God, look who's here. John Collins is here. John Collins says, hello, people. Donald Sutherland was in A Time to Kill as well. John, I'm so glad you could make it. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the party. And Dundee says, I barely remember the swarm. Wasn't Fred McMurray in it? I might be wrong about that. I honestly can't remember. It had an all-star cast, so it might have been. And he says, I have never made a fool of anyone. They've never needed my help. I couldn't have said it better myself. In fact, I basically just did. And John says, "Did you ever see the movie Come and See?" No, I haven't. And Keith says, "Harold, did Denny post the link for your channel?" Oh, that's a good question. Hopefully he did. And Gary Carter says, "Z, if you want to see Locust, watch The Good Earth. You know that they have to set fire to the crops." Oh, I know. I hated that scene. That whole movie was just so repellently sad. And Tug says, "'Tis a silly movie." Let's not go to Camelot. "'Tis a silly place." And yes, McMurray was in the swarm, and thank you, Indy, for pointing that out and giving us a link. Thank you for the link, Danny. And etc. Says Michael Caine was in. Was the main star in Swarm? That's right. Yes, Michael Caine was the main star. Yes, thank you. And W says, "Thanks, Indy. I thought I remembered that." And Angela says Donald was in Ordinary People too, which I need to see. Unbelievably amazing film. Very, 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 very sad film, though. Very sad. Oh, and etc. says, along with Richard Whitmark. And Linda says there was a 1974 movie simply called Locusts. I think that's the one I'm thinking of. And I'm so embarrassed that I am just like hideously embarrassed. Thank you, folks, for all having a good sense of humor. Angela says, "Wasn't The Good Earth from the 1930s?" Yes. Yes, it was. And Tug says, "Wow, he caught my vague Monty Python quote. That's impressive, Bob." Um, well, you guys know I'm something of a virtuoso of the Pythoners. And John Doe says, "You have to come and see. It's a war movie that shows the horrors of war right to your face." Oh, okay, yes, I remember hearing about it. Now I have not seen it, but I remember hearing about it. And John Collins says, "Bob, does your restaurant have commercials on TV?" Radio commercials, but nothing on television, I'm afraid. We do have our own Facebook page, so you can check us out on Facebook. And John says to Tug, "I watched it last night." Denny's giving us a link. Keithy says, "I highly recommend the Music and Fun channel." Actually, yes. Danny, have you dropped a link for Music and Fun? Please do if you've not already. And Emily says, "Isn't there a new Monty Python movie coming out?" There's a stage play, and they might be adapting the stage play into a film. They've done that before. So let's just say, hope so. And Music Fun, etc. says, "Thank you, Keith, for the kind words." Well, they're deserved. They're deserved. You put out some great stuff, and we appreciate it. And again, I want to thank you for being here tonight. But again, Danny, if you could drop a link, that would be awesome sauce. And now for the rest of the trivia, I'll try to keep from being wrong on any of them myself. I know who's my fact checker. Number 4, Mr. Sutherland played a role in this Stephen King adaptation. Was it A, The Mist, B, The Stand, C, The Shining, or D, Salem's Lot? I shall repeat. Mr. Sutherland played a role in this Stephen King adaptation. A, The Mist, B, The Stand, C, The Shining, and D, Salem's Lot. And wow, you guys are on your toes today. John Doe says the movie with the giant locusts is called The Beginning of the End. Oh yeah, that was a Peter Gray's movie. I'm talking about like a 70s movie where they just overpopulate and eat all the crops. The funny thing, I deliberately picked Stephen King adaptations that had more than one adaptation. So people are like, he wasn't in Salem's Lot. He may have not been the one you were thinking of. He was in Salem's Lot in 1904, and you guys are great. So the correct answer is, of course, D. Number 3. In this early stage in his career, he played 3 separate roles in this horror film classic. Was it A, Castle of the Dead, B, City of the Living Dead, C, Mansion of the Living Dead, or D, A Virgin Among the Living Dead? I shall repeat. In this early stage in his career, Mr. Sutherland played 3 separate roles in this horror film classic. Was it A, Castle of the Living Dead, B, City of the Living Dead, C, Mansion of the Living Dead, or D, A Virgin Among the Living Dead? Christopher says, Bob, the bar in your restaurant is the kind of bar where everyone knows your name. Yes, it is. Yes, it is, particularly mine. Oh, Project Cryptid is here. Oh my God, Project Cryptid. So glad you could make it. 400 congratulations. That is a reference. Thank you so much. I'm sure you guys already know this. I finally hit 400 subscribers. So I only need to improve that by 150% in order to get my goal of 1,000. But it's a huge milestone, and I'm very proud. I'm very proud of all of you for all of your help. And Mr. Cryptid, so glad you could make it here for my show tonight. And thank you for pointing that out. And, well, thank you. I'm extremely grateful. Oh, and the correct answer is Castle of the Living Dead. And, John, getting back to your statement, Castle of the Living Dead was actually directed by a gentleman by the name of Warren Kiefer. From 1964. Mr. Sutherland's career was just starting out, and he felt it was a big breakthrough role for him because he got to play 3 different characters. He plays a soldier. I forget what the third one was, but he also plays this old witch lady, which is hysterical because he chews up the scenery, dressed as this old lady. It's a blast. But A, Castle of the Living Dead. And moving, thank you. Everyone saying congratulations. Thank you very, very, very much. And moving on now to question 2. Oh, and speaking of multiple roles, he had a dual role in this comedic period piece farce. Was it A, Mel Brooks' The World Part 1, B, A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum, C, Start the Revolution Without Me, or D, What Did You Do in the War, Daddy? I shall repeat. And speaking of multiple roles, he had a dual role in this comedic period piece farce. A, Mel Brooks' The World Part 1, B, A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum, C, Start the Revolution Without Me, or D, What Did You Do in the War, Daddy? And you guys are on your game today. I'm gonna give it a few more. Angela says, I have no clue. That was a deep dive. You have to have been a big fan of slapstick comedy or matinee TV back in the day. Tug says the opening narration seared into my brain that the French Revolution happened in 1789. Still in France, 1789. That shtick landed with me so hard when I was in high school, and as I'm sure you guys remember, we used to make those like little student films, those little farces with my friend's a Super 8 camera. And anyway, I envisioned I was going to do I wanted to do some type of uh period piece, some type of lampoon. But every scene was going to it was never going to like change location, but every scene would be like still in Yarmouth, Mass, still in Yarmouth, he was throughout the entire movie. It was going to open with the time and that you were what location you were, but it was always going to be the same location because I thought that was like that shtick was just I thought was hysterical. Another thing I wanted to do is remember in the Big Red One when the guy gets shot coming off the landing craft, and you zoom in on his like hand, and it's like he's dying, so it's like crippling like this. But you see his watch, and it says what time it is. And then at the end of the battle, they zoom on his hand again, so you can see how much time has elapsed. I had an idea of doing that as a way of advancing the time for the audience, but that the hand would enter various stages of decay. I was a sick kid. What do you want? But anyway, the correct answer was I don't know. I lost that card. C. Start the revolution without me. Still in France. Leonard Nimoy, I'm not Spock. I grok Spock. And the number one question, thank you, Tracy. And the number one question is we actually get to see Mr. Sutherland's butt in this cult comedy classic. A. MASH, B. Animal House, C. The Little Murders, or D. Kentucky Fried Movie. I shall repeat. We actually get to see Mr. Sutherland's butt in this cult comedy classic. A. MASH, B. Animal House, C. Little Murders, or D. Kentucky Fried Movie. And yes, you all know. Animal House. Whoa. Animal House. Whoa. music, movies, and music, fun, etc., etc. Says MASH. I think he was answering ironically. Oh, by the way, before I get scores, I have a bonus. So, and as always, just add, you don't count the bonus. So it's not going to be from 11. Add the bonus in if you get it, and it's still of 10. So you could conceivably get 11 of 10. But anyway, here is the bonus. What happened was I actually was going to like throw my least favorite question out, and there weren't any. So I'm going to just give it as a bonus. Thus, submitted for your approval, Mr. Sutherland gave an absolutely outstanding performance in this 1970s sci-fi reboot. G, whatever could it be? Could it be A, The Fly, B, Star Trek, C, King Kong, or D, dun 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 dun, dun Invasion of the Body Snatchers? Hi, Mrs. Thrash. She waves politely from off camera. Always off camera. She's taking the last ice cream cone. And she's laughing about it. No, I think there's actually a couple more back there. We get those. I go to BJ's and we get buy the box. They're these Kit Kat ice cream cones, and they're coated in chocolate, which does two things. It gives you a chocolate coating, and two, you actually get to be surprised because you don't know what flavor ice cream is actually in the cone until you bite into it, because it's covered by the chocolate. So it's either chocolate covering chocolate or chocolate covering vanilla. And of course, everyone's saying hi, Mrs. Pons. And if any of you got this one wrong, shame on me. Because as Indy, Tug, and many, many others point out, I talk about that movie incessantly. And yes, John, Spock has a small role in there as well, as does Mr. Jurassic Park, as does I always get the two mixed up. Alien? The Cartwright from Alien? Yeah. Veronica was lost in space, had a crush on her. Angela was an alien. But in any event, that movie is like a who's who of science fiction film. And I've talked about it ad nauseum. So, yes. Yeah. Oh, and Dr. D says Donald Sutherland and John Houseman were great on Pee-wee's Playhouse. I don't recall them in Pee-wee's Playhouse, but I'll take your word for it. And let's get scores. Oh, Crapshoot Creations is here. Danny, a link for Crapshoot Creations, please. Says, love the dog face guy. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. In Invasion of the Body Snatchers. The homeless street performer who ends up merging with his dog. Yeah, that freaked me out when I was a kid. That really freaked me out. And of course, the walk on by drawing a blank. Indy, Tug, anybody? The star from the first Invasion of the Body Snatchers. He was the bad guy in Inner Space. McCarthy? McCarthy was his name, I believe. All I can think of is Jack McCarthy. And Jack McCarthy was a kid show host from the Northeast when I was a kid. He's the one. If I ever told you, I had the first joke I ever told as when I was a kid. I heard somebody tell it, and then I told it to somebody else. It was the show. It's a little dated. It's a reference to the moon landing, which is still a pretty big deal at the time. It was Captain Jack McCarthy, and it was during a commercial bumper, and he was chatting with the kids, and he says, "Well, you know how they always said the moon was made of green cheese? Well, the moon is made of green cheese. The astronauts discovered that when they got there, they found that it actually was made of green cheese and inhabited by little green mice. And when they met the mice, they walked up to them and said, 'Take me to your cat.' Now, when you're 4 years old, 'Take me to your cat' is funny shit. So I repeated that. I didn't get any laughs, but that was the first joke I remember as a kid. Oh, some people are actually giving scores. Oh no, I'm here. I am pontificating. And anyway. Oh, Zuplex is 9 of 10. Lisa's 8 of 10. Terrell is 7 of 10. Tug says 1 and a tenth. Scott is 8 of 10. Zuplex says, I missed 9 of 10 because you didn't answer. Number 1, B. Number 1 is B. It was the Dirty Dozen. Give it to yourself, please. I have to sleep at night. Zoop, you're killing me. Kevin McCarthy. I knew it was something McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy. And how did I know you would know that, Indy? Angela got 2 of 10. Excellent. I did not get the bonus. Oh, you did get the bonus. Oh, excellent. Excellent. Good stuff. Gary is 7 of 10. A lot of people saying hi to Crapshoot. Etc. Got 7 of 10. Etc. That's your new nickname, by the way. Emily Mill got something out of 11. I didn't keep up. I'm sure you did very well, Miss Miller, even though you just jumped off the page. Keithy says, McCarthy did the kids' show as a cop. Are we thinking about the same McCarthy? No, this guy had like a Commodore's uniform. And I could have sworn. I'm going back 50 years. Oh my gosh. Speaking of kid shows, didn't you know Uncle Floyd? I believe I have this bell ringing in my head that you knew Uncle Floyd. So please let me know if that's true or if I just made it up in here. WD says he used to host the Popeye cartoon show on Channel 11 New York. 11 alive. It was. I guess it got broadcast to some parts of Massachusetts too. Although I can't remember now if I saw him at my grandparents' house in Worcester or when we were living in New York in White Plains when I was a kid. Well, either way, R.I.P. Captain Jack. Dominic D is 7 of 10. Keithy is 1 of 11. You are not pathetic, Keith. You admitted that you were not pathetic. Tug was 11 out of 10. That's amazing. Zublik says number 1 was Animal House. Oh, you got me. Well, as I said, no, I actually said Animal House. I sang the answer. Zublik, how do I sing the? You're right. I was singing number 10, which we had a little confusion on. Number 10 was Dirty Dozen. But number 1, I was singing Animal House. Whoa, Animal House. And here's one for you. When I was in college, my fraternity, one of our local artists did a portrait of that cartoon depiction. And guess who they had on the top of the house with the keg and the flag? Take a wild stabbing guess. All answers in the comments below. Indy was asking 11 questions instead of the Dirty Dozen for Sutherland, Tisk, Bob. Ooh, you bring up a good point. Although that wasn't a major role of his, a major role of his would have been Invasion of the Body Snatchers. So I'm asking an invasion of questions. And Emily says, please stop calling me Ms. Miller. Emily is fun. I'm sorry. I get overly formal when I'm trying to be cute. I'm sorry. I will call you. Actually, I normally call you Miss M anyway. I very seldom say Miss Miller. Usually you're Miss M. But I'm just going to call you Emily if you'd prefer. Emily it is. And Tug says, and he was really paranoid about communists too. That was yeah, another McCarthy. But yeah, I know exactly where you were going with that. Senator McCarthy. And don't wait for the translation. And Keith says McCarthy did it as a boat captain and would ring the bell like they would on the ship. You're right, because my father knew what the bells meant. Thank you. Okay, thank you. You could have just as easily gaslit me and said no, he was a cop. Thank you. I knew. I knew because my grandfather was really into boats and my uncle was really into boats, so it kind of made a splash. Oh, Gary, don't tempt fate. Oh, she says, I will find you. Lisa Field says, Dominic, yes, I remember that. Oh, very good. And Dominic says, yes, I remember that too, Keith. And also, hey to Lisa. And John Doe says, I believe Count Floyd was on Ed Grimley, C3 TV. SCTV. Huh. Huh. Could have been. Could have been. Could have been. Tug says, why do people keep clicking the heart every time he sings? Well, I don't know. Why do fools fall in love? Zubik says, you went straight to the bonus question before providing the answer. No, I was singing in. Are you going to gaslight me, Zubik? Okay, I will repeat. The answer to number one is, of course, Animal House. Happy. And Dominic D says, cool. I grew up in Yonkers. Teb says, guess the 19th sitcom. Paul Reiser, Helen Hunt star as New York City couple facing the trials and tribulations of married life. Mad About You. Or Mad About Shoe. If you remember Krusty the Clown's guest hosting of SNL. A lot of people get mad about you. Excellent. And he says to Tug Geek, I suspect they think it's called a direct line to the EMT. And Sean says, ugh, thunderstorms just blew through and kept knocking out my power. Haven't heard anything since question 4. So sorry. Feel free to catch it in replay. My lights are starting to twinkle too, by the way. So wish me luck. John Doe says, Spy versus Spy, Spock edition. Love it. Gary says, Dom, have you ever seen Hello Dolly when Yonkers was really different? Well, hello, Dolly. Yes, hello, Mrs. Thrash. She just walked in again. And Keithy says, no problem. I'm not going to Google answers just so I act intelligent. And Emily says, Sean, you so missed the big $109 giveaway Bob just had. Yes, I asked people to give me $109. Sean says, Yonkers. I grew up in Pleasantville. I got lost in Yonkers. Oop, my battery's saver. On top of everything else, now my battery is dying. So, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to keep reading questions. But, oh no. Uh oh. Hello? Hello?